Carnival is sweating, Carnival is mass. Carnival is an act of celebration of our culture, and soca music emphasizes this rhythmic energy. Good afternoon, and a warm welcome to our viewing and listening audience. I am Anisha Karut Walcott of the National Training Agency and your moderator for this afternoon session. Coming off of a very busy carnival season, or the mother of all carnivals as it was dubbed, we all know the vibes card done. Without fear of contradiction and totally objective, of course, Carnival is one of the most spectacular showcases of Trinidad and Tobago's creativity, a true testament to the potential of our artists and the creative industry as a whole. There are so many layers to Carnival that it would take us weeks to have these discussions. So today's webinar is dedicated to digitalization in soca music, bringing the technology to the art form. Oftentimes, we hear the lament that music is not what it once was, and the music of yesteryear was better. However, there must be an appreciation for the work that goes into making music, creating a sound that will appeal to various audiences and remains timeless. We've moved from vinyl to cassette tapes to CDs to streaming, and so too the soca music industry is changing with the times. So, what do we need to keep this industry vibrant and attractive? What skills do you and the future generations of soca artists, DJ, and producers need? What role does digitalization play and can play in cementing soca music as uniquely Caribbean? And what advantage, if any, does Trinidad and Tobago have within this space? These are some of the areas that will be discussed today. If you're a regular viewer of our TVET webinar series, our format for today's session is slightly different, as well as we'll have a panel discussion featuring four specially invited guests. Soca artist CollegeBoy Jesse, international DJ Watty, producer Mr. Kevin Beharry, and Mr. Maarten Manmohan, project officer at MusicTT. The NTA is delighted to partner with MusicTT to bring you today's webinar. Jesse Stewart, better known as College Boy Jesse, is a talented young artist and songwriter from Cunupia, Trinidad, who began performing at the very tender age of 7. Throughout the years, he has cupped several titles and gained recognition as one of the Caribbean's most electrifying performers. Also known as an accomplished songwriter, he has several writing credits with some of the region's most celebrated artists, including Marshall Montano, Alison Hines, Skinny Fabulous, Teddyson John, Lyrical, Orlando Octave, Ricky Jai, Terry Lyons, Nessa Preppy, and Aaron Duncan, to name a few. In 2020, College Boy Jesse won the International Groovy Soca Monarch title in his first entry in the competition with his refreshingly optimistic anthem, Happy Song. Today, he is the new lead singer of the legendary All Stars band, formerly known as Blacks and the All Stars. DJ Watty, also known as, his name, Ewart Mundy, is an on-air DJ at Slam 100.5 FM. DJ Watty started on Slam 7 years ago as an up-and-coming DJ. After 3 years of hard work and dedication, he worked his way up to become a junior programmer at Slam 100.5. DJ Watty is the official DJ of Olatunji and is both a local and international tour DJ. He has also worked with artists such as Patrice Roberts, Five Star Akil, Farmer Nappy, and many more, and has regional and international performances in Jamaica, Belize, Canada, Bahamas, United States, St. Lucia, and Bermuda. DJ Watty says that for him, music is everything. It was always his dream to become a full-time DJ, and he wasn't going to let anything stop him from achieving this. Kevin Beharry. Kevin has always been one to think outside the box. As head of music production, DJ Unit System 32, he is an experienced audio engineer and song designer, with scores of hits under the System 32 name, including songs with Olatunji, Patrice Roberts, Farmer Nappy, and more. Kevin has also received international sync placements with Netflix. He is also a member of the Grammy Awards Recording Academy. Maarten Manmohan. Maarten is a music industry professional with over 15 years of experience as an audio engineer, producer, and musician. He holds several degrees, including a Master of Arts in Carnival Studies and a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Performing Arts. As a project officer at MusicTT, he is responsible for the live music district and the music technology platform. Maarten is also managing director of his own recording studio, Random Design Studios. I know a lot of you are still at home relaxing post carnival, so come join us for the next hour. Share the link with your friends, make it a line. Please welcoming Mr. Maarten Manmohan and our distinguished panelists. Maarten, I hand it over to you.
Thank you very much, Anisha. That was a really great introduction. I think you really summarized our carnival season and that kind of evolution of what happened with the soca music. Soca music being only about 50 years old has probably seen the most shocks of technology to affect it of all other music genres because it's a fairly young genre of music and we've experienced so many technology shocks in the last 50 years. As you said, going from vinyl to cassette to CDs and now to streaming platforms. We also saw not just in the production of the music like that, but the music production side with the evolution of digital technology and digital audio workstations. We saw music transform from these big, huge studios to people producing music just on their laptops, you know? So it's a major change. And today we're really happy that we can discuss some of those changes and how it's affected soca music, not just in Trinidad, but in the Caribbean as a whole. And really look at some of the career opportunities that's available now because of all this change in technology. So I want to welcome again our panel, DJ Watty, CollegeBoy Jesse, and Kevin Beharry. It's going to be a little more informal. We're not going to go into like too much details of, specifics, but we're going to just have an open discussion. So I really want to start looking at the technology advances that has affected soca. And in your opinion, and I'll start with who's first on my screen, so Watty. What do you think has had the biggest impact in soca music, technology-wise, over the last 5 years?
I definitely. Good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, I will say in terms of like the streaming platforms, I think it's a way of getting our music to a wider audience, just beyond the region, beyond the Caribbean. So I think that have impacted soca music this far in terms of like getting our music out there faster, in terms of like I said, it moved from vinyl to cassette to CDs. In terms of like, you could remember when soca artists used to go in town and hand the CDs to cassette CD guys and stuff like that. So it's just by sitting on home and just sending out your music. So I definitely think the streaming platform have impacted soca music in a good way. That's far.
Jesse, what are you saying? Because I see you unmuted, you might there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what he said. Those digital platforms definitely improve the way for us to share our music and for the music to also reach not just a local audience but an international audience a lot quicker. All those platforms is something in the past 5 years that has improved the distribution of our music, and most recently I would say I think a year and a half ago, less than 2 years, Spotify literally just been aware that we weren't able to access the platform here in Trinidad and Tobago, and that have improved in the pandemic. So yeah, definitely I think the digital platforms improve the way for soca to get out there.
And Kevin, when it comes to the production side of it, anything you see really impacted in the last 5, even 10 years? I mean, how has it been transitioning from, maybe producing on big computers and you have to have the studio and everything?
Mm-hmm.
So I know you can produce on your own.
Right,
now,
right. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. I would say access to music samples has become, is easily accessible. To me, like anyone now up and coming could go online, download a sample, and make something, Um, it's so accessible and affordable. Like Splice, for example, and if anyone knows a Splice, you could get samples online for a cheap subscription monthly, and you'll be able to put together a song in 2 twos, Um, to me, I think that's the greatest technological impact in the past 5 years, Um, you know. And then another thing too, like musical equipment has become so affordable, because of technology. The production cost, is low to develop, and anyone could buy a mic for like what, 100 US and get started and make music, anywhere on an iPad, on your phone. So,
All right, so I mean, I don't think any of us really came from the days of producing vinyl and stuff,
yeah.
but we could talk about the digitization, because I think, well, when I started off, we were still burning CDs to give the DJs, the radio stations, um, in the studio. But now, I mean, is that part of the ecosystem? Are you still trying to get CDs to them? Or how do you go about distributing music? And I mean, I'll start with Jesse. Like, is it something that you just send somebody a Spotify link and it get played, or I mean, what's your thought process and what's your process now?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of producers utilize 1 RPM or even DistroKid, to distribute the music to all the different platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, all of those. So the process is everything digital now, no longer the hard copy version. I can't remember when last I actually held on to a CD, to actually put music on. The least that we would probably do now, which is, is have it on a flash drive where you could share it to a laptop to somebody. But now everything is via email and via the platforms for the fans, and also for the media, people who actually want to share the music, use the music, DJs and media houses and that type of thing. So that is the strategy. I think today, definitely that is the strategy. Even when we try to sell our music, let's say it's an album, we try to put together, everything goes digital. We use also QR codes, for people to actually access all your music in one place. There's something called I can't remember the link signals. I can't remember the link that everybody actually could put your music on. It functions similar to a website, where people can access all your music there. And yeah, I think that's what we use today.
I think you're talking about link in bio, Jesse.
Link in bio.
Mm.
Yes, that is it. Yeah.
All right, and okay, so that's real interesting. And from a distribution perspective, Watty, like, I mean, from the radio side of it, how do you all get music in? Is it like you all scouring on the playlist and put it on music, or I mean,
Yeah.
how do you all go about that now?
Well, majority of the times we go searching for the music, and then the artists took it up on themselves to actually send it straight to the radio station. So we have an email, and every day we will check the email, because I mean it's carnival time, a lot of artists trying to get the music out there. So they will send the music to us. We have a team that we sit down, we go through the music each and every day to make sure that no one get missed and no one get left out now. So it basically and sometimes we actually we have a site that we pay for, where we have to go download music from, which is franchise record pool as well too. So we go, some of the times, as I say, the artists may have personal DJ friends. I have a lot of artist friends. I know that they will send me the music via, it doesn't matter, it could be via email, it could be via WhatsApp. It's their way of getting the music out there. No, I like I say, they move away from the hard copy. So it's a lot easier and a lot faster to get your music out there. But is it enough? That is my question. Is it enough that they are doing to actually get their music out there? I will say yes. Majority of the people these days, by the young people this generation, their life is in their hands, which is their phones and stuff like that now. So we using those platforms the right way to get the music out there fast, you know. And that's my 2 cents.
Okay, so I mean that's put me to something else. So So I think you touched a good point there. It's not just enough to produce the music, put it out on Spotify, and hopefully a DJ will play it. You know, they have to
pick it up.
Yeah. So I mean, what are the next steps you think that need to be done, or maybe stuff that might be missing with somebody? I know, Jesse, you might not fall into the category because you are very proactive when you release your music. You know, you have your whole marketing campaign and everything set. But I mean, I do agree. It's not just about releasing the music. You have to do what's the next steps. What do you expect? You know?
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, at the end of the day, it's very competitive in terms of the DJs actually getting to know your product, because they are flooded every day with projects from everybody. And how do you make your project, you know, stand out, or how do you make your project really meet the consumer? And I think this is where we kind of, as he just said, you know, everybody business on their phone. You have to find a way to get it, you know, for them to view it, whether you use social media, you use Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp, you know, we have to find, you know, creative ways to make your project really stand out, to reach not just the consumers, but also the media who would like to also share it. And that is basically it. It's just using as much as you can, because, you know, somebody might see it one place, or they might not see it on another place, but you just have to use as much as you can, as much platforms and where it could actually get to the audience. So yeah.
Okay, and so how does, maybe address this to Kevin, how does collaboration kind of fit into this whole model now? Because, well, I mean, back in the day, you had to bring somebody in your studio to record and, you know, but with this digitization, is it easier now to like collaborate out to the islands, up the islands? What's that process like for you, Kevin?
Well, if I'm speaking as a purist, I would prefer for someone to come in the studio and sit down one-on-one and vibe and get something done. But because of time constraints and, you know, you have to release next week or today for tomorrow, it's faster to send files via email or, you know, Dropbox and just work back and forth collaboratively. You could even remote sessions and that kind of thing now. So to me, I would prefer sitting in the studio, but because this is a profession and, you know, this is what we do for a living, and, you know, time it has to get done in a certain time frame now. So I don't mind, you know, getting files and doing products, you know, doing stuff, you know, now for now. You know, so that's what I would say.
All right, and even to touch on that side, the after product side, so like the marketing and the distribution, like, is that something that, you know, you have to do all on your own? Or is it that we're gonna reach out to people to collaborate with to do that? Do the people have to be here to do your marketing campaign? What do y'all do?
Well, normally, first we determine our budget and how much everybody wants to put to the project. Whether is a visualizer or artwork or whatever it is, some kind of marketing campaign, even to pay TikTokers, because, you know, they have the influencers that could push your song, you know. Once that's determined, then we'll move accordingly. Either do a DJ blast, you know, and same thing with what he was saying, send it to the radio stations via email. That would be inclusive of the blast. So, well, Slam is on our DJ blast, so we would send it to them, you know, and we'll move to suit. We have, you know, video guys that we would reach out to see if we could put together something short, you know, just to push the song to see who's engaging with it. And yeah, that's more or less it, you know. Just have like a checklist for each release.
All right, so like, what skills would you look for like a collaborator? Are you looking for somebody with like degrees, or are you looking for like a portfolio work? You know, look, if you're looking at, say, a video guy, what are you looking for from them? what equipment they have. And I mean, this is for everybody, you know?
No, it's more your work, like your catalog, you know, what have you done before? So I could see, well, nah, this is real good. Let me reach out to him to do something. I don't, to me, it's not about academics, really, in music. It's really just what could impact and what people could feel. And if I feel in something as a prosumer, then I would reach out to you. And more than likely, consumers would feel it, you know? So
how important is it to have that portfolio available online, or is it just like, you know, say again, let's think about it. I am a up and coming video producer and I want to start making videos for soca artists. What do I have to do to start? Am I just gonna reach out to Jesse and say, hey Jesse, I have this idea, you release this song, I really think I have a nice video idea for it, would you be interested in working? I'll do the work for you. We can figure out budgets and whatever. Is it something like that, or is it like a barrier that says, all right, I have to start working with the smaller artists, I start building that portfolio coming up? I mean, I don't know. What do y'all think?
I mean, I guess it's a risk, and is having faith in someone. So like, okay, what say, boy? Like the first ever remix you did was with Ola. This was like 2014 or something, I remember. But he took a chance on us because he liked, you know, the stuff we used to do, and it wasn't anything popular, but it was like, all right, let me give these guys a chance. Let me see what could happen, and end up being like, from that it led to, like, you know, Marshall and other artists coming up the line, seeing that what Ola, the remix we did for Ola, and then, hey, I was something like that, and then, you know, everybody came to get that done now. That was his song. So it's just taking a chance on someone, you know, sometimes. And you never know, it could work out. And then from that, they would build a portfolio and a catalog and get even more jobs done, you know. If that makes sense.
Yeah, Jesse, what about you? So, like, if coming from the artist side, is it you gonna be reaching out to like younger producers, video producers, or even music producers, or, you know, how do you go about thinking about, I have this song idea, I want to work with this person to do this, you know? What's your kind of thought process there?
I mean, the fastest way, I would say, I mean, it's really easy to reach the people on social media. So like if you're a video producer or even a music producer that created stuff and you want to work with an artist, I would say, you know, you just tag us in some of the work that you have done before, you know, share your stuff to us. And that way, you know, it will build the awareness to, okay, you know, I like this or I don't like this, or and that is where the conversation would start in terms of possibility to work in the future. Because especially with me, I mean, things change every day. Sometimes, you know, you would have people who are hot today and tomorrow, you know, you find somebody else who actually, you know, would be on to the next. So it's not a situation working with the same people for 20, 30 years. You know, we always have to evolve and always need fresh things and work with new people. So, you know, there's opportunity for so much new people to be involved, you know, and to work. So the easiest way is just to tag yourself, your portfolio work, I think is most important. It's not really an academic side of things. In our line of work is more of, let me see what you can actually do more than, you know, what you have on paper. So yeah.
All right, and I like that. So it's not necessarily the pieces of paper, but it's the skills, right? You're looking at the skills of the people, right? Yeah. So Watty, if say I'm a young DJ and I want to start doing this kind of thing, what are the kind of skills you think a younger DJ needs to start developing to be able to say, all right, I want to be able to I want to be Jesse's DJ. How am I going to start building that skill portfolio?
There's two things. These days, I think it's more of less of a skill first, but more what's trending and marketing yourself. I think marketing yourself comes first these days, because you may not know someone's talent until you actually market yourself out there. We don't go searching in terms of like, let me see what this person have. It's more like, you know, this person's trending on social media. You know, their skill is, and then you get to see their skill now. the other things is networking. On people that you already know. You know, just giving somebody a chance to prove themselves. You may not know the talent of the back foot, but in terms of like their how they present themselves, sometimes it's about energy, it's about connection. So going about getting is about to know artists, is about networking. You know, going out, you gotta stay home and wait for it to happen. Me, I was in the right place at the right time because I like networking myself, in terms of getting in different circles, hanging with different people, getting knowledge from different people. Some of the people I gained knowledge from in this industry, Signal to Noise was one of them. So it's actually networking itself and being around people and being in the right place at the right time and the right mindset. Skills come after, to me. I think skills come after. Once you have that discipline and that mindset, then you put skill to that, I mean, you could be unstoppable. So it's all about networking and marketing yourself.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's really important. So that networking and marketing, people don't understand how important that is. To me, I didn't really get fully immersed in this industry until I went to university. I went to university and I was just around other producers, other engineers, other things. And I mean, yes, the skills I learned at the university were very important, but I think the more important thing that I gained from university is, you know, I mean, I was in classes with all of these people who are making moves in the industry, you know. I was able to really see from them, learn from them, and, you know, even see how their circle operates. And I mean, so the skill of networking is probably one of the most important skill that you can develop, you know, that people skill.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So what about so that leads me to another thing. Do you think the schools that are doing these trainings, so training in the engineering, the producers, the musicians, the schools that we have, I wouldn't call names of schools, but I mean, we're here with National Training Agency. I know they have programs looking at the up and coming people, you know, the upstarts, but, you know, you could eventually transform these credits into going to university like a UTT or even an international university to thing. Do you think they are providing the necessary skills and qualifications for people to get into the industry, or are there gaps that you really need to be filled that maybe is not being filled right now that can be filled with people like yourselves?
Broadcasting school. I started off, a friend of mine was actually telling me, you know, I think you should try this broadcasting school. But me, in my head, I was thinking, nah, I know everything already. I know everything. I don't want to do this. They're going to teach me the same thing I already know. And he keep nagging me for like about 2 months. And I was like, you know what? I decided to actually go and do the broadcasting course. And they teach me the basic things that I need to know on a daily basis when it comes to being in the entertainment industry. And actually that, I didn't took that into consideration. I didn't know about those things. I was just thinking about skills. You know, you could do this, you could do that. The basic things that they taught me, that actually helped me a long way in terms of reaching to where I am right now. So I think being in that school, I did the basic course, I did the advanced course, and a couple of years later, I ended up going back to the school to teach as well too. So I actually think this is one of the places I actually networking myself that actually got me into radio. So being in the broadcasting school actually helped me along my way, in terms of, like I said, meeting people, hanging around people, and it was just an opportunity. And like I said, the right place at the right time. Because I'll share a little story with you. I wasn't the first pick to DJ 5 Star. At the point in time, he was like, you know what? Come, let's just see how a radio station does operate. I'd never been in a radio station before. And, you know, he already had the DJs and stuff like that. So he was like, you know, just come check it out and check out the radio station. And off the back foot, when we went, Signal was like, it's all the equipment and stuff like that. So the DJs that they had, they pulled back and they was like, nah, we good. And I actually stepped forward and, show my skill and show my talent. And he was like, you know what? I like your way of thinking. I like how you're aggressive and stuff like that. I actually think I want to work with you. And that was it. So being in the broadcasting school, at first, like I said, I didn't want to do it. But then the basic stuff along the way actually helped me in my career so far. So definitely, I think getting to know the basic stuff is very important.
Yeah, and Jesse, I mean, your name is CollegeBoy Jesse, right? So I mean, how has school and stuff kind of like, played a role in your career?
It laid the foundation for me to literally understand the business that I'm involved in. I did sports administration. I have nothing to do with music. And then I did my master's in marketing. And this is where I was allowed to apply some of the tertiary stuff to my life in music and business through the marketing side of things. And also the foundation of literally reading a contract and understanding it, and reading documents and reading more about the business of music and understanding it. I think that basic foundation of education, it supports anything that you want to do, in life. But apart from just that side of it, the practical side of it is real vital. Actually going out there and meeting people and working with people, and trial and error, and the failures. You learn from so much failures. And I think that is basically it. So my little foundation with education, it supported that aspect in terms of understanding life and music and business, but actually getting involved in learning to write a song and practicing songwriting and trial and error, and it was practical more than the tertiary side of things for me, in regards to this aspect of life. Yeah.
And well, Kevin, I mean, we sit down and talk about the business side of it, and I think just from our conversations, we do realize that understanding some of those business side, I think, me personally, I think is lacking. I mean, at MusicTT, we try to educate people about that, but it's. Do you think the producers and the artists in Trinidad have a phobia of getting into that, like those real nitty-gritty parts of the business, like the metadata side and the those really integral parts of the digital transformation that we see happening?
Yeah, to me, I just think it's a lack of knowledge overall of what it is exactly. And I mean, to me, most artists not really too concerned about that aspect of the music, because I mean, we have an ecosystem where you go by a producer, you get a production done, and you perform it for Carnival, you're making money for the Carnival, right? It's only of recent times artists getting more aware of the master side and the copyright side, and when they're just used, which is fair, but I don't think they really know too much on that. I think it's important because it's how you target stuff, how you label your stuff. When you pull up the metadata on even DJs on the Serato and your tags on the songs to keep track of your songs, like that's really important to count plays. And to me, if I get political, that should be how like you determine, even like if something as road march, like okay, you could pull up on everybody Serato how much times it was played for the entire day. Okay, this is road march because you have the metadata who's responsible for keeping track of everything, But I know that's another topic. But if you're talking technology, we had to go there now, So yeah, I just think it's a lack of knowledge overall, with technology and songs and tagging songs and tracking songs,
Yeah, maybe it's something we could put it to the National Training Agency to see, maybe we need to have a course on metadata, maybe we need to have a course on IP rights,
Yeah.
just at the basic level, because you don't really see this until you get to that advanced tertiary level, and I think that sometimes that's a little too late.
Yeah, it's. I think it's necessary now more than ever, and because even if internationally that's what they do, to keep track of everything. So we need it. We need it.
Yeah. Trust me, I know. I've been fighting that battle for the last 4 years of music.
Yeah. So.
All right, so let's talk about the future now. So, yeah, we know this is what we have, and we move in towards something that could be like a developed ecosystem of a soca industry. But, I mean, they have emerging technologies now that I'm pretty sure are going to cause some drastic shifts in the industry, like what's going on with AI and ChatGPT and what's happening in blockchain. I mean, how do you all see those things impacting our industry in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, go ahead, Jesse. I'll go.
My take on even with all these different platforms, right? In terms of we dealing with Trinidad and Tobago and even the region, we have an audience here, especially soca is ours, so we have a direct audience in the West Indies. However, there's a lack of our consumers being able to really consume the music. I think, and it stems from the banking situation, the access for credit cards. We have an age group of, let's say, 18 to 25, which is probably the biggest audience for consuming music globally, that age group there. And locally, and even regionally, 18 to 25 rarely have credit cards or access to credit cards. So that definitely would affect consumption for us as entertainers and people within the industry to benefit or to even monetize anything. We depend on the diaspora. We depend on the first world nations who really consume our stuff. So with the involvement of AIs and all these new things coming in on the blockchain, is like we really disconnected. We have a large audience who would be disconnected from all of this, so partaking in this, and I mean us, we would be affected also, and not be able to truly benefit from it unless that whole banking situation changes. Yeah, that's just my take. It's something that in the pandemic I was concerned about, and I realized that is a fight, a constant fight with all of us. We create music to sell digitally. Everybody around the world, but in this region is definitely a challenge because the major audience who purchase do have access or the tools to do so. So they depend on it. They get it off YouTube for free. They rip it off. There's a new school piracy that's happening. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, so you're saying because of something as simple as access to credit cards, that's just like the first barrier to access all these new tools online because they can't. Okay, yeah, I didn't think of that. That makes sense. But even with AI, and because it starts with the AI artwork, you could input something in a field and it would generate artwork for you. No, to me, it could work, but it's subjective because not every song you could type in to AI and that AI generates something. Like it wouldn't work like that. Like it still need human guidance to get something a little more creative, than just. I don't think we're there yet. We might be in the future, but like I don't think there's anything to worry about right now. In terms of ChatGPT, I know you could type in like something like write a soca song, and it could probably do something. But still, again, it's subjective. It wouldn't be as good as a human writing a song for you. So I don't think. I think it needs a lot more work for it to be a threat to, I don't know, actual seasoned professionals who are creatives and who could do it. So I think we have a little way to go, before that's before it's a real threat.
Well, just to touch on what you're saying, I think yes, it might have a little way to go, but I think it will affect us in the near future, because to me, music is about emotions and music is about feelings. These AIs and stuff like that, wherever, it's just basic things that they feed it. They feed in you. They're not actually feeling what you want as an artist or as a producer, as a songwriter. You might type in, yes, you want to sing about this topic, and they might write out something for you. But is it really coming from you or inside, or that is the way that you feel, how you want to express yourself? Definitely, I think if we move to that, I think, because that is why I think a lot of the music these days that have the live bands and the live instruments in your live track actually feels different.
Feeling.
Yeah, so it actually give it that feeling of, like I said, emotion and stuff like that now. So I hope that we do go that way soon. And we actually, because I actually see, a lot of artists, you're actually going back to, in terms of like, look at these days, when last you see the amount of bands that we have. So people actually going back to the kind of modern days, like what Carnival was about to us now. The music and the instruments and the bands in events and stuff like that. This year it had a lot of bands, and I was kind of like proud to see that take place now. So we actually taking a little piece of the past and incorporated it in our future or with our technology. I actually hope that we do go that way.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's all about emotions and feelings for me when it comes to
Yeah, I agree.
All right. And all right, so I had a couple more questions, but time getting slim. But I want to ask this kind of last one, because I think this is a good takeaway. I mean, a thread that has been kind of going through this conversation is marketing and networking, right? We have mentioned that at least several times. So I mean, so what are the possible career paths somebody could take? So they don't want to be an artist, they don't want to be a DJ, they don't want to be a producer, but they want to be involved in the music industry. So what are some of the other careers that that a young person who wants to be involved in the industry can really take to say, all right, I'm part of the music industry, but I'm not necessarily a musician?
management. I honestly think we have a lack of management in Trinidad and Tobago. We have a lot of booking agents.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of managers that actually take your artist's best interest and say, hey, I could take it from here and take it up to the next level and do this for you without a hit song. Some people wait until they get hit songs and just take bookings. So I think one of the fees that we lacking a lot in this industry is being a manager. Like it have DJs, it have, like I said, it have musicians. Like I said before, there's a lot of bands happening, a lot of bands coming back. So, and what I gather is a lot of bands using members, some other bands to do their shows. I think if we could actually, we have talent in Trinidad and Tobago. And I think if we could open our school and say, hey, we're looking for musicians, we're looking for guitarists, we're looking for keyboardists, people who would go and do Ableton. I actually going and start an Ableton course in the next 2 weeks. Because I want to do something beyond just DJing and programming. I want to take my career to the next level. So I actually picking up Ableton, and I think we lacking a lot of musicians. Musicians and management.
Yeah.
I would say more entertainment lawyers, somebody to proofread contracts, who actually know what they're doing, and more music admin people. Oh my gosh, that's what we need. Somebody to set distribution times, upload, say metadata, link in bios, schedule music blasts, email blasts, like real musical admin stuff. I don't think we have enough people that could do that. Most of the times the producers have to sit down and do everything. Sometimes even artwork and all. Yeah, it's just overall music creatives we lacking.
Jesse, what are you saying? do you think we're missing?
Yeah. What he mentioned, management, I think that is important. But within management, I think that is a whole course by itself, especially now. We live in a different time. And there's so much more that is added to the responsibility of managing talent, especially with the technology too. So like simple things like tracking where your music is, understanding your audience, the algorithms of social media, like totally managing your brand. I think that is an important thing for somebody who want to be involved and do want to be on the entertainment side of things. I think that is a nice responsibility or job to get involved in.
Okay, and I see Anisha has joined us back. So I don't know if we have any questions. I want to thank everybody. First of all, from the panel. I mean, this I know this discussion could have gone the next 2 hours very easily, you know. But you want to keep it tight and short. And Anisha, turn to you.
Thank you so much, guys, everyone. Listening to what has just been discussed, there is no doubt that our soca music industry continues to be a vibrant and thriving one. But there are quite a number of career paths that can be pursued, as you all would have just discussed there. It is very interesting how we can adapt many of the technological advancement with the music industry globally to our soca music industry. Furthermore, while it is a multifaceted industry, it is also connected on so many levels. One can even argue that digitalization has facilitated a greater degree of access. So I really want to thank you guys for that very interesting discussion. We now give you, the audience, the opportunity to participate in our discussion through our question and answer segment. We will attempt to address as many questions as the remaining time will allow. We just have about 13 or so minutes. But I do have one that came in while you all were having the discussion. It's from Sheldon Mendoza, and anyone can answer. Well, he made a comment. Most of the artists don't even check their direct messages or respond to people they don't know, and most radio stations just have an automated response. So, how does a new artist really make that real connection? So, anyone can answer.
Well, I mean, I'll start there. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
as a brand new artist, there are platforms for new artists. You know, I mean, as a brand new artist, I don't think your first aim is to reach out to the radio station and say, "Hey, I need my music played." That might not be the best format. You know, MusicTT or we have District, which looks at up and coming artists and give them opportunities to perform on large stages. We just had an event where some of our artists got to perform with Olatunji and these things. So we had these big stages with up and coming artists and large artists. So there are opportunities that way. You come and you perform to their audience, and you have the opportunity to network with the artists. And you have to, as we were saying, networking is probably the best way to kind of start off. And you start very humbly. You don't want to just message somebody, hit them up in a DM and say, "Hey, I have a new song, listen to my new song." That's probably not the way to go about doing it. You appreciate the artist when you reach out to them and tell them, I'm a big fan, and you leave it there. And then as opportunities develop, you kind of build a relationship rather than just asking for something up front.
Yes, I totally agree. And you would have mentioned it as well. Networking is so important. And putting the skill that you're having and having that right attitude as well. So all of those play a very important role in you being having a successful career in the soca music industry. Anyone else wanted to answer that question? But Maarten, you summed it up quite nicely. Yeah.
Also add in terms of like a lot of new artists, lots of artists, not just new artists, just thinking, they send the music to radio station and that's about it. They expect the radio station to make magic with it. There's so much more platform that you could create your own platform in terms of getting your music. In terms of like, there's a lot of artists that get big off of YouTube, off of TikTok, or for Instagram by just trending. Like I said, the majority of people these days have their life in their hand, and if you can keep pushing your content to them every single day, every time they turn or every time they go on social media, they see your content, and your content is constantly there. Now, consistency is one of the keys. Radio station can only do their part. I think it's up to you to create your own platform in terms of you could actually Apple Music have something where you could actually see the top 100 songs that Trinidad and Tobago listens to. You could actually judge in terms of like where the headspace at and stuff like that. So there's a lot of other platforms besides the radio station that you could create your own platform on, in terms of getting your content out there.
Okay, yes, agreed. Anybody else? We actually had a comment that came in from Karen Daniel Ferrero. He mentioned that there are so many mediums to purchase online available right now, and it's a collection of money as producers and as business owners from the rest of the world that poses a challenge. That was a comment that came in. So I think that's one of the, because I wanted to ask as well, what is the negative side of all of this in terms of this whole digitalization of the music. So this is actually one of the challenges that he was collection of money from producers and as business owners from the rest of the world. What do you all think about that?
I think Jesse was adjusting it really well. So the lack of credit card services available to the young people. The central bank is making strides to have a digital currency and stuff, but I don't see that happening next year. It may take a few years before we see actual progress in that. And there are a lot of political reasons that are affecting these things, and not politics in type of party politics, but region politics that are at play that can affect these things. A good friend of mine who could have spoken on this is Karen Rose would probably be able to show you. I mean, he has a whole series on his platforms that can shows you how to collect these monies in Trinidad. It's not hard, but it's not easy.
Okay.
And just to add to that, yeah, okay, so you don't necessarily need to. Okay, so to monetize like from YouTube. Producers can still get, or master owners could still get a percentage from YouTube streams, even though it's free. Like YouTube is free, so you don't need a credit card for that. It wouldn't be as significant as something paid, like YouTube Premium or Apple Music or Spotify, but you still get paid from free streams. Spotify has a free version as well. SoundCloud, so all those platforms are monetized, even Instagram. So it's still something,
Okay, great, thank you. There was one other thing in terms of, I know we would have touched on the careers, but what are some of the careers in digitalization? I think, Maarten, you may be able to shed some light on that, specifically digitalization careers.
So, I mean, to me, probably one of the most important things that is missing, and we can see this from an industry side, is metadata. So we tried to implement certain things about 4 years ago and realized that being released is not being tagged and tracked properly because there's a lack of knowledge on metadata. There's probably one or two metadata persons in Trinidad, and there's a huge gap and a huge place for metadata specialists to come and really do things, because to get your metadata sorted out after you release, it's costly and it's time consuming. So to get it done beforehand, and if you can have every artist, every producer should have a metadata person on their team, to really sit down and sort that out, because it's not a nice thing to sit down and have to write out all their metadata. But if you're doing an album, I mean, you're talking that's hours and hours of work to really sort out the metadata just for an album.
And it's costly. It's
Well,
costly as well.
Yeah, it is costly. And it's not a skill that's hard to learn. It's just a skill that you have to have patience to do.
Okay, well, that's definitely information for all labor market, because we actually kind of labor market studies to see where there's a demand in some of the demand for skills in some of these areas. So that's good information for us. All right, I see that we have about roughly 4 minutes, 4 minutes to go. As we approach that time, we have now come to the end of this webinar. Firstly, we wish to express our deepest appreciation to our distinguished panelists, CollegeBoy Jesse, DJ Watty, Kevin Beharry, and our guest host, Maarten Manmohan. We also wish to recognize and thank Ms. Melissa Jimenez, the General Manager of MusicTT, for coming on board to support this webinar. For those of us involved in TVET skills training, there is no doubt that there are many lucrative opportunities available within our soca music industry. While one may not generally associate soca music with TVET, there are many skills that are needed to be at the top of one's game. The industry, like many others, is very competitive, and through digitalization and harnessing those resources, it sets you apart from the others. Thank you to all those viewing and listening live. Please be reminded that you can view this discussion and our previous webinars on NTA's YouTube channel, and we encourage you to subscribe to our channel, like, and share the webinars. If you wish to send us feedback or suggestions to other webinars, send us an email at webinar@ntatt.org. That's WEBINAR at ntatt.org. I am Anisha Carrot Walcott, reminding you to look out for further communication from our team, including the link for this session's webinar. Do have a great afternoon and an enjoyable weekend. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.